Welcome back. Let's continue to this now. There are still more than 3,900 illegal pit toilets in South African schools. Amnesty International South Africa has launched a campaign calling on people in South Africa to petition the government to eradicate pit toilets in South Africa's school in an ongoing drive to address the issue. Joining us now is Genevieve Quintal, Media and Communications Officer at Amnesty International South Africa, just to discuss their campaign urging government action by the end of 2024. Genevieve, thank you so much for your time. So let's get right into it. I mean, deadlines for replacing pit toilets or death traps, as they are called, in some quarters have come and gone in this country, yet 30 years on, we are still looking at over 3,000 of South Africa's 23,000 schools, in fact, still with pit latrines. I mean, what does your campaign entail and what do you hope to achieve?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Unati. Thank you so much for having us. So yes, as you said, shockingly, 3,900 schools in South Africa still have illegal pit toilets. And this is despite pit toilets being banned from South African schools in 2013. And this was in the minimum uniform norms and standards for public school infrastructure. And part of those norms and standards stated that pit toilets had to be removed and replaced by 2016. We are now in 2024, and this has not happened. It's going very, very slowly. The initial deadline, as I said, was 2016. Then there was another deadline for 2020. And then eventually we had another the Department of Basic Education again shifted the goalpost, and we had a deadline for February 2023. And the Department of Basic Education just keeps missing these deadlines. Earlier this year, the department had said now they're shifting the deadline to 2025. And as Amnesty International South Africa, we're saying, no, we don't accept that. We want these pit toilets eradicated by the end of this year. You've been pushing the goalpost for way too long. We've been talking about this for quite a while, Unati, since 2021, and we're still here. And I'm talking as us as Amnesty International South Africa. There are many other organizations. Just this year, we saw a 3-year-old die in a pit toilet. Yeah. So what we've done with this campaign now is we've actually printed a newspaper advert that has been, the ink used is ink that is made from human feces taken from a pit toilet. And we're asking people, reading this should make you sick. Just as it could make children sick, we have to use these pit toilets every single day.
And I mean, you speak about these deadlines. Also, we saw in February of last year, of this year rather, Parliament calling on education authorities to submit within 60 days, I think we are at that mark now, a detailed report with timelines and deadlines, to get rid of these toilets, particularly in the Eastern Cape, Limpopo and KwaZulu-Natal. I mean, how confident are you that that will in fact happen? I mean, just given the fact that we still don't know how our cabinet is going to be looking like.
Unfortunately, Onati, and it's horrible to say, I'm not very confident because, as I've been saying, the goalposts have been shifting. As you say, we're still waiting for a government to be put together. That's also not to say that these departments shouldn't be working, that the bureaucrats shouldn't be working. So I would hope that despite there being maybe no minister in place at the moment, surely the Department of Basic Education is still running. Surely there are still people in their posts who should be ensuring that infrastructure is being fixed in schools. It can't all depend on the politics. We also have, the public service. So, we're going to stick to our call. The end of 2024. You've been promising this since 2013. It is high time that these toilets are. And do you know that more than 1 million children actually use these pit toilets in these 3,900 schools in the country? That's way too many. It's one too many children that still have to use unsafe toilets like that. They are death traps, as you said.
And of course, we're talking about just one sector of these children that have to use them. I mean, just the presence of the pit latrine toilets is another reminder of just how unequal our country is, with a few recorded deaths. One can think of Michael Komape in 2014, after falling in one of these toilets. And in some cases, children are disabled, after being rescued, after falling, into these toilets. I mean, how do then citizens hold government accountable in such cases, particularly because we are talking about just one sector of the population and not the other?
Absolutely, Anati, and I totally get that. If you look at the Constitution and even in terms of international law and basic human rights, everyone has the right to safe sanitation and to provision of safe water and sanitation. And like you said, many people in this country do not have that. And that's why it might seem frivolous that to some that we come every few months and shout that pit toilets must be eradicated, whether it's in schools. There are a lot of organizations that are talking about pit toilets as a whole. The fact of the matter is we have to continue shouting about it. We have to continue saying that this is a human rights violation, even if it's not one that I'm facing. But we need to stand up for those who are having their rights violated until the government ensures that everyone has access to their basic human rights: sanitation, water, safe environment for schooling. So it's just, we have to continue putting on the pressure. We have to continue demanding accountability from the government. We cannot be pushing goalposts. We cannot still have 30 years after independence, people having to use pit toilets. Something has to give. And so we just need to continue putting on that pressure. Communities need to continue putting on that pressure. People in this country, no matter who you are, whether you have a toilet in your home or not, need to continue putting pressure on the government to ensure that everyone in this country has access to their human rights.
Genevieve, thank you so much for your time. Of course, that was Genevieve Quintal from Amnesty International, just talking to us there about the pit toilets that still exist in this country 30 years on.